Hey, what's up, guys? Shuckle King here, bringing you my quarterfinals match for the NPL Tryout tournament versus Frawls. Now, Frawls was in Pool E and was able to advance, and in my opinion, that was probably the toughest pool out of all of them. You have Vespis, Ben, excellent name, Carney, Jacob, all pretty good battlers there, so pretty impressive that he's able to get to the top two there, so shout-outs to him. And he was also able to beat Mega Oshawott, which is no small feat for sure, so it's going to be a tough opponent we have in front of me, especially because he does have 12 mons on his team, but I don't know if the top tier talent is terribly threatening, but he just has a lot of interesting, weird combinations of mons that I normally wouldn't be as threatened by, but I feel like match up really well against my team. So, and Frawls is also, I know he was a big part of the NBA, at least at one point, so he's definitely a very respected battler. But anyway, his team from most to least threatening is Mega Altaria, Mammoth Swine, Arachnid, Delmise, Jirachi, Swallow, Zeraora, Archeops, Toxicroak, Incineroar, Omastar, and Glaceon. He has 12 Pokemon again as my last opponent, but I really don't expect Omastar or Glaceon to come. Omastar, I guess, could be like a Shell Smash or a lead setter, but Decidueye shuts that down pretty well, and I don't think he really has a chance to set up a Shell Smash on my team, and Manaphy can kill it if I have Energy Ball, even at +2. So the top threats, Mega Altaria, again, fairy types that are offensive are pretty bad against my team, and Scolipede is a decent answer against it, but if he's like Cotton Guard, then he'll be able to eat my poison jabs up, so that's something I have to watch out for. Mammoth Swine, if he's Adamant Life Orb, certainly a big problem. Earthquake plus Ice Move hits my team pretty hard, except I guess it doesn't super effectively hit my Necrozma, and I guess my Alolan Persian can somewhat handle it, but not great. Conkeldurr can Revenge Kill it, but it really doesn't want to come in and take hits on it. Arachidnid is annoying because it cannot set up Sticky Webs pretty well against my team because Mega Diancie does not want to really stay on that, as it probably can chew a rock move even with Charty Berry, or if he's really physically defensive, we'll be able to take a Diamond Storm. So I do have to watch out for that. Decidueye could be a defogger in this regard, but I don't know if Decidueye has the best matchup just because he has Mammoth Swine and Mega Altaria that both take advantage of me having Decidueye on my team. Delmise is annoying because he can rapid spin away my hazards versus just defogging them away. And it's also a pretty good check to Garchomp, pretty good check to Manaphy, can take a Scolipede hit. It can probably 1v1 any specific Pokemon it wants to. I don't know if it's going to be alive for long, but I'm sure he's fine trading Delmise for Manaphy or Delmise for Necrozma or something like that. Watch out for that. Jirachi can do a lot of things, but I do have a lot of super effective coverage that can take advantage of it. Alolan Persian, Garchomp, Scolipede with Earthquake will do a lot, or Mega Horn. Manaphy can somewhat set up on it. So I have ways for Jirachi, but it's annoying. Swallow, super fast. Aerodactyl that speeds it, which is cool, and Scolipede with a Protect as well. Zeraora is not as threatening. Garchomp should be able to handle it pretty well. Necrozma can take any hits as long as he's not a setup set. Decidueye also takes it on pretty well. Conkeldurr should take hits and kill it in return. So I have a lot of things for Zeraora. Archeops can be a threat. Necrozma, Garchomp really eat those hits up. Toxicroak, I don't know if I really expect to bring. I'm not too big of a fan of it. I guess it handles the Manaphy okay if I don't have Psychic. But, and if he wants something to absorb Toxic Spikes, I guess he can bring that. And Incineroar is okay for Intimidate, but not good against my team. So what I decided to bring is you see here. I have Manaphy, a Choice Scarf with Surf Ice Beam, U-Turn, and Psychic. Psychic to hit that Omastar, though I don't outspeed it if he's a Scarfed Toxicroak, but I don't think he's expecting me to be a Scarfed Manaphy either. I feel like Tail Glow is a pretty big problem for, if I brought it against his team. Zeraora is a pretty good Revenge Killer as well as Swallow. If I ran a Iapapa Berry or Wakan Berry, it could handle one of those two, but can't really handle both of them. So that's why I wanted to get more raw, immediate, fast power with my Manaphy, and also a form of momentum with this set. And hopefully I can bring in other mons that I feel like also do really well against this team. So yeah, Life Orb was also something I considered, but I think Scarf Manatee to add speed. Like I would 2-hit KO to Zeraora. After rocks, I have a chance to kill after rocks, or without any rocks, but rocks definitely will kill with Surf. I don't know if you would expect me to be Scarfed Manaphy, at least right off the bat. So the next Pokemon I bring is the Necrozma Toxic Moonlight Photon Geyser knockoff with 248 HP, 188 defense, 16 special attack, and 56 special defense. A little bit of a weird set again with my Necrozma, and it's a minus speed nature just because he has Mega Altaria Mamoswine. So they sit at base 80, so if they want to, they'll outspeed my max speed Necrozma, no issues. So that's why I figured I'm not going to run speed. At the same time, they could run no speed, assuming I'm going to run no speed, and then having like a little bit of investment would be nice. But having slightly stronger knockoffs to hit the Incineroar and knock off an Assault Vest or something, or knock off the Jirachi and do like 40-ish% to it, is certainly nice than having a weaker knockoff. Toxic to wear down like a Mega Vitaria if it's like a Cotton Guard or some type of setup sweeper right there. And Photon Geyser will hit his team pretty hard otherwise, besides the Jirachi and the Incineroar. I did have Stealth Rocks over Toxic on the Necrozma, but I think I'll be able to fit that on other Pokemon on my team. And I want to make sure I have something for the Mega Altaria. If he's like a Dragon Dance Cotton Guard Roost set, then my Necrozma can wear down with Toxic. So I should be okay with this set. The defense, again, just to let me live Zeraora hits, allows me to live 2 Life Orb Adamant hits from Mamoswine, which is pretty clutch. And also allows me to handle the Mega Altaria if he's a Dragon Dance Sweeper. The special attack investment allows me to... What does it allow me to do? It 2-hit KOs Zeraora after rocks with Photon Geyser. I expect his set to have 104 HP EVs, and the rest of it in special attack and speed that had speed my Aerodactyl. So that's what I plan with that set. So that's why I have the little bit of special attack to 2-hit KO guaranteed the Zeraora. I think that's also including if he's lefties. And the special defense investment allows me to live a +2 Omastar Surf after rocks, and I should be able to kill a Photon Geyser if he does bring a Omastar and does have a chance to set up a Shell Smash, especially because Manaphy does not have Energy Ball, though I guess Surf will be doing a good amount of damage regardless to Omastar. And this set would also do pretty well against Omastar, which is Conkeldurr. Max HP, a lot of attack, and a little bit of speed. If I can get +2 speed, because spoilers, we're going to be running speed past Scolipede again. If I get +2 speed, I will add speed the Altaria and the Mamoswine. And I should be able to kill with Poison Jab on the Mega Altaria, unless he's like max HP, max defense. But if he's that set, then I'm not worried about it at all. If he was like a max HP set, then I kill with Poison Jab, but I don't kill with Facade. So I want to make sure I knock out the Mega Altaria, especially because I feel like he could be a max HP, max attack, Dragon Dance, like a bulky setup opportunity there. Drain Punch, recover a lot of HP. Facade will hit what harder? It'll hit the Araquanid harder, most notably. And Knockoff is there to hit the Jirachi really hard and also hit the Dhelmise because I don't really hit it that hard otherwise with my set. Be nice to have Mach Punch, but this is like a endgame sweeper that should be able to handle everything, especially once I get Speed Pass boost from Scolipede, which is running max HP, enough speed to outspeed max speed Jirachi if it's not Scarfed, but even if it is, I can protect and then outspeed it. Substitute Baton Pass, last move is Toxic Spikes. He doesn't have a grounded poison outside of Toxic Croak, and I really don't think it's going to come. So I feel like Toxic Spikes are pretty free in his matchup to wear down the Zeraora, wear down the Mamoswine, Incineroar, Dhelmise. It'll be certainly very nice. Not having an attack is kind of a hindrance, especially against my loss against Dax Leader. I did not have an attack on my Scolipede, so I was not able to do any chip to it, which was pretty unfortunate. So I do have to watch out for that. The next Pokemon I have is Aerodactyl, Roost, Defog, Stone Edge Earthquake. I'm bringing this over my Mega Diancie because it adds speed to Swellow. And if Swellow is either physical with Steel Wing or special with HP Steel, then that'd be a big issue for my Mega Diancie. So I wanted something to make sure I add speed. And this also allows me to add speed of Scarfed, Glaceon if he wants to bring that. I don't think he brings Glaceon because Manaphy and Necrozma and Conkeldurr all handle it pretty well, but in case he does. And it also allows me to add speed. Zeraora that's not invested in a plus speed nature, so I can hit it for pretty hard damage with Earthquake. Probably not knock it off because if he's not max speed, then he probably has a lot of bulk. So that's something to consider there. But Roost, Defog, Roost for longevity, Defog because he does have Araquanid, so I wouldn't want the Sticky Webs up if possible, and then to get rid of rocks, obviously. Stone Edge hits his team pretty hard, and what doesn't hit it hard, like the Jirachi, Earthquake will hit it really hard in exchange. The Dhelmise, if it's physically defensive, takes us on pretty well, but I have other ways around that. And I do live a Adamant Life Orb Ice Shard from full from a Mammothine with the HP investment. That's why I went with that there. For the attack, I think it was just a rest into attack after that. A little bit of bulk investment in the Aerodactyl. I don't need a ton of attack on this. Like, I think with the 168 attack, I also 2-hit KO like Mammothine after rocks. So if I rocks up and he doesn't have rocks up, I will be able to beat Mammothine if it switches in 1v1. I also 2-hit KO Jirachi with Earthquake unless he's a lot of bulk on that. So that's also certainly a plus with the attack investment. Last Pokemon I have is where I put my Stealth Rocks on, which is Garchomp. A little bit of bulk, a lot of attack, Adamant, with enough speed to add speed to Toxicroak in case he does bring it. Outrage, Earthquake, Stealth Rock, and Dragon Claw. Dragonium Z Outrage, he really doesn't have a switch into this. Besides a Jirachi who gets spots by an Earthquake. He does not, and Mega Altaria, but if he doesn't Mega, then I'll be able to hit it really hard with Outrage. And I'm going to lead with this Garchomp. I should be in good shape, because with my HP investment, I'm able to live an Adamant Scarfed Jirachi Zite Punch, which should be great for me, and as long as I don't get frozen, I can kill with Earthquake in return. And otherwise, I don't think he would stay in turn 1 with Jirachi versus Garchomp, unless if he was Scarfed. Unless if he really thought I was Scarfed Garchomp, but I don't think that really makes sense versus his team because he has a lot of flying type or ground resists. So that's my team. Let's get right into the match. Alright, here we are for the battle versus Frawls. And as we can see with his team here, he does not bring the Araquanid. So that means I don't have to worry about Sticky Webs. That's certainly a good thing for me. I do have Aerodactyl for Defog, but it's not the most reliable thing. And I mean, he has a Zeraora, Mammothine, and Jirachi to all threaten it out before I get a Defog off. So thank goodness he didn't bring that. Otherwise, I'm not really surprised about this team. The top 7 I mentioned before, which are the 60 Brock plus Araquanid, probably any of them could have came, but I would have been really, really surprised if Altaria or Mammothine didn't come. So, normally my lead is Garchomp, and matches pretty well against everything on the team except for Mammothine. And I feel like Mammothine is a pretty obvious lead. I mean, he could also lead at Jirachi, but even if he leads Jirachi, then I feel like Necrozma is still a pretty safe lead. So I'm going to lead with my Necrozma, which is also my answer to Mammothine, and hopefully get the pressure on it early on. So as we see, he leads with the Mammothine, and I lead with the Necrozma. So I get that prediction right. I'm going to go right for the knockoff here, so that way he does not KO me with any 2 Adamant Life Orb hits. Not that he should, but it'll do a lot less damage. And he goes for the Stealth Rocks, and I crit with a knockoff and do 31%, which is not much at all. This shows that he is, well, first he's Focus Sash, and he's also a max HP set. Based on that damage, I should have been doing like 25%. So 20% shows that he is max HP. Sounds interesting. I assume he's a max HP, max attack Mammothine. So a little bit unfortunate that I didn't put a little speed creep in my Necrozma and potentially outspeed it. Not that it makes a ton of difference. It could, but it shouldn't make that much of a difference. So I knock off his Focus Sash. Doesn't really make a difference. He gets rocks up. So I have this weekend, and I'm definitely okay with this exchange. He goes into Dhelmise, which is weird because I just showed knockoff. And I go for a Toxic, safe play. Anything was going to get hit by it, I guess, except for Mega Altaria if he switches out. Afterwards, with Natural Cure, and Jirachi takes it okay, but he doesn't want to really get knocked off, and I'm okay with that exchange if I do get a knockoff on the Jirachi. So The Delmise is in. I'm going to go in a Garchomp, which is really my best answer to take this on. Conkeldurr to an extent can take it on, but I prefer to keep it healthy to get speed boost off of my Scolipede. So Shadow Claw does 32%. That shows he has very minimal attack investment on his Delmise. I think he has a little bit, but not much at all. I'm guessing he's very defensive, but at this point, he has no Z outrage switching. So this is definitely great for me. He could go into Jirachi, but I'm going to just pop with an Earthquake afterwards. So I'm definitely okay if he makes that play. I'm guessing this is his dedicated answer, or at least somewhat soft check to Garchomp. And now it's gone because I go for the Z outrage, and I'm going to kill. Even if he has max HP, max defense, I should have been able to knock it out. So that's great for me. One less thing to worry about. He brings in his Mamoswine here. Obviously threatens me out because I don't live an Ice Shard from this range, assuming that he's adamant. Necrozma's a pretty safe switch-in, but my Garchomp's not going to be doing a ton for the rest of the game because I burned my Z move. Yes, Earthquake is nice to hit the Jirachi, and I should be able to take an electric move, obviously, from Zeraora, but he probably is hitting Power Ice and it's going to kill me off anyway. So I'm going to stay in here and then get a free switch in my Necrozma afterwards and just try to go for the rocks. So I get my rocks up for free, actually, as he goes for an Earthquake. Does not go for the Ice Shard there. So that damage also shows that he is max attack adamant. So I'm definitely okay with this exchange. I was kind of sacking off my Garchomp somewhat, predicting that he probably wasn't going for an Ice Shard because he wanted to get more damage off on a potential switch. So I'm definitely okay with getting my rocks up to weaken that Mega Altaria and that Swallow. So my Garchomp is down. It's not the end of the world. I was able to kill the Delmise, which is probably his Hazard removal, so my Hazard should be here to stay. I go into my Manaphy. His switch-in is, Altaria? But even if I go for a Surf here, he's going to have to fear my Ice Beam, so that's not the most reliable switch-in. So at this point, I am Choice Scarf, so I'm free to fire off a Surf. It would be ideal if he goes into his faster threats like mainly the Zeraora that could take one and then kill me in return, because I don't have an electric switch in at this point in the match. But I should be able to KO that on the switch. But he goes into Jirachi. So based on the damage that we can see here, this is probably like a max HP Jirachi or some type of, has a decent amount of bulk, but it's not fully special defensive. So I do a little more than a third. So with the Stealth Rock damage, I should be able to 2-hit KO at this range. I don't think Jirachi is going to really do much to me. Like, the worst he could do is, like, para me and then slow me down, but I'll be able to basically cripple this Jirachi in exchange. So I'm okay for this. I'm going to go for the Surf again, about the same damage roll, and he goes for the Toxic. That's definitely okay with me. I can take out this Jirachi, and he's really only switching is the Mega Altaria. He does go into Altaria here, and I go for the Surf. But at this point, again, he has to be threatened that I'm not Choice Scarf. I'm not sure if you would expect that with this set. I mean, he could have an idea based on his speed investment, but I have no idea what his speed investment is, obviously, because I'm going to outspeed it. So if he's a more bulkier spread that doesn't have a lot of speed, then he might expect me to naturally outspeed him, even without a Choice Scarf. So that's why he has to be afraid of this Manaphy having Ice Beam. So playing off of that, I could stay in and Surf again, predicting him to switch out, or I can just make a safer play and go to my Necrozma, which pretty much can handle anything on his team, which is great. He goes into Jirachi here, I guess predicting the Ice Beam, or maybe scouting if I was Scarfed or not, or maybe sacking it off. I'm not sure why he went back into it. I guess predicting if I was Scarfed or not. So that's this exchange is definitely fine for me. He could get a Toxic off on me, but I can kill in exchange for the knockoff. So I am going to switch out, however. So I switch out because I want to get Toxic Spikes up. Now this Iron Head damage also shows that he is a lot of attack investment in his Jirachi. Could be even max attack. So I was pretty confident that he wasn't going to go for a Psychic move on my Necrozma, obviously. So I should have a pretty free opportunity to get up Toxic Spikes, maybe even get a substitute up if possible. Iron Head is going to break my sub, obviously, based off that damage. But if I can get Toxic Spikes up, I can wear down the Zeraora and the Mamoswine to easily deal with them later for my Necrozma. Not having to worry about going for a Toxic, instead maybe Moonlight Stalling. So I'm going to substitute, see what he goes for. Goes for the Zen Headbutt, I can get a couple speed boosts. You could also miss a Zen Headbutt, which is would definitely be clutch. But instead of risking that again, I'm going to just go for the Toxic Spice. He could just go for an Iron Head at that point to break my sub, so I didn't think he was going to risk missing his end headbutt. So I get a T-Spike up, my Scolipede goes down, so my Conkeldurr is not going to most likely sweep this game, but it definitely has potential to take hits just because of how bulky it is. So my Scolipede goes again, but I get a T-Spike up to wear down the Zeraora and Mamoswine, so I'm okay with this exchange. And he really doesn't have a Surf switch in here. As you see, he goes into Mega Altaria. I did about 20% before, I do about 20% again, so I just 2-hit KO'd his Mega Altaria. And probably, in my opinion, the biggest threat to my team is now gone, thanks to Stealth Rocks and 3 Surfs. So there goes Mega Altaria. My Manaphy's getting lower, but I'll still be able to do a hefty chunk to anything on his team, and he really doesn't have a great switch in. Besides, the Zeraora can take a hit and knock me out, but he'll be under half, so I'm definitely okay with that exchange. So he goes into Swallow. Now, I thought this was kind of weird because I can just knock him out with a Surf. So, as we see here, he actually goes for Protect and reveals that he is a Toxic Orb physical set, which is definitely something I thought he could bring, but I wasn't entirely sure. I thought Special had a little bit of a better matchup, but both sets work really well against my team. So, at this point, he's going to kill me off with a Quick Attack. So, I really don't have a great switch in to this because if he does go for Facade for whatever reason, that's going to 2-hit KO my Necrozma, and I do not want that to happen. So I'm going to go for a Surf, hopefully he stays in, but he does not switches out. So I'm pretty confident he does not have Quick Attack based on that information, because otherwise there's no point for him sacking off his Jirachi otherwise. And maybe he did want to reveal Quick Attack for the late game, but I don't think there is any reason to sacrifice your Jirachi just for that hidden knowledge. As Jirachi still outsped my Necrozma, so it could have done something potentially. I'm not sure. He still could have Quick Attack. I'm not entirely sure. But regardless, the Jirachi is down and the Manaphy is down. So this brings up 3v3 with my Necrozma, Conkeldurr, and Aerodactyl versus his Zeraora, Mamoswine, and Swallow. Now, Necrozma can handle all these Pokemon at least 1v1. The Mamoswine 100% takes on. I definitely beat that. The Zeraora, a little bit of a bigger issue because it could set up and also has Z-move access to potentially knock me out. And Swallow won't be able to knock me out, but it'll do a ton of damage to me, and I can't Moonlight stall it, most likely. So, I feel like the best switch-in for me at this point in the game is Conkeldurr. Conkeldurr is probably the least useful out of the 3, just because the Aerodactyl is the best thing at revenge killing the Swallow, and my Aerodactyl can also live an Ice Shard from the Mamoswine if he has that in. So between my Necrozma and Conkeldurr, I should be able to take out the Zeraora. So my Manaphy goes down, he brings in the Zeraora, and I have my Conkeldurr in. I'm definitely okay with this. I'm going to just Drain Punch and get as much HP back as possible after this hit that he goes for, which is actually a Z Gigavolt Havoc. Fortunately, it does not knock me out, only does about 70-ish%, and I can recover a lot of that HP back with Drain Punch. Now, at this point, I'd probably win the game if I have Mach Punch. I'm very, very confident I win the game if I have Mach Punch here. Unless he crits Ice Shard with Mamo plus crits Quick Attacks with Swallow, or if he has a ton of bulk that can live a Guts boosted Mach Punch. I don't think that's even possible from this range, but unfortunately I don't have it. Instead, I went for the sweeping potential with Conkeldurr and with a lot of speed with the Scolipede, and then Poison Jabbing the Mega Altaria to do more damage than Facade, so I do not have Mach Punch. So I won't be able to sweep at this point in the game, but I'm still in pretty decent shape. He goes for Plasma Fist, does not knock me out. In return, I can kill with a Drain Punch, recover a little HP, but it's not going to make a difference. But at least I'm at a range to where he has to bring a switch in before I do, and is either going to take Rocks, or with Mamoswine, Rocks and Poison damage. So I'm definitely okay with this exchange. He goes to the Ice Shard, maybe expecting I had Mach Punch. It didn't really matter at this point in the game, unless I wanted to preserve it, which didn't make sense. So I'm going to go to Necrozma at this point, because I can just Moonlight stall and should be able to win this game. I can stay at high enough HP to where I can take a Guts boosted Facade from the Swallow unless she crits, and then that's the game there. So that was a good game. The Frawls, hopefully I do well in the next round. It would be the final 4. We get to flinch with the this Icicle Crash here, but he's wearing down, so that's okay. I should be in decent shape here. I take not too much at all. Oh no, he gets another flinch. Now this is getting a little bit dicey here because he's brought down to 19%. So yeah, the game's definitely not over yet because of 2 flinches. That's pretty unfortunate there, but it definitely happens in this game. So the roll is like 28.5 to 33.5%. So he did like a minimum roll and a high roll, or a mid roll and a high roll for the first 2 hits. So if he can get a low roll or maybe even miss, then I can recover and I'd be in great shape. So I stay in. Obviously he goes for the icicle crash, brings me down to less than 1%, and I'm able to moonlight up. So at least I don't lose my Necrozma to this Mamoswine. Now, if he did knock out my Necrozma there with like a middle roll icicle crash, I still had a decent chance to win this game. So he kills me. He's brought down to, we'll see at the end of this turn here, he's brought down to 6%. And then I'm forced to bring in my Aerodactyl. Now, his plays are either to icicle crash, ice shard, or earthquake, obviously. Ice shard, based on my bulk investment, wouldn't be able to kill it. If I didn't have any bulk, it has a chance to knock me out with ice shard. So I feel like that's a pretty safe play for him to go for ice shard there. So if he goes for ice shard, I live, I go for roost. I should be at high enough HP to take on the swallow. If he goes for the icicle crash, I just roost. The icicle crashes, does like, I think about 75% because I lose my flying typing, and I should be okay. Now, if he earthquaked as I roosted, predicting me to be a bulky Aerodactyl set, and earthquake can knock me out, that's just a ballsy play. I gotta applaud him for that if that was the case. But I felt like Aerodactyl still had a chance to win this game, even if he flinched me down and got high rolls with his Mamoswine. But fortunately, he did not. I should be able to moonlight up and be able to win this game with Necrozma on the swallow, but he flinches again. So I am definitely not able to live a facade from the swallow, which puts this game again in a pretty dicey situation. So I still have a chance to lose this game for sure. First way I lose is, well, the main way I lose this game is I go on Aerodactyl, I add speed 100%. I have Stone Edge and Earthquake's my attacking moves and Roost. So if I miss my Stone Edge, and he's Steel Wing, which is definitely an option. That makes a lot of sense because I do have Mega DNC. Then I lose the game. If he is Facade and Quick Attack and gets 2 pretty high rolls, then he also wins the game. But otherwise, I'm in pretty decent shape to win. So I'm going to bring out my Swallow, or my Aerodactyl on the Swallow, and hopefully I do not miss with a Stone Edge, because he still has a chance to win this game. But fortunately, I do land the Stone Edge, and I'm able to advance to the final 4. Good game to Frawls. Definitely a very close one there. Maybe it should have been a little bit more decisive in my win than it was, but a win's a win. I'll definitely take it. Doesn't really matter the differential at this point. So I'll be either facing Eddie or Baby Eric in the final 4. So I'm pretty excited. I haven't played either of those people yet. So until next time, later guys.